Alrighty, well, this was massive. James Harden just agreed to an extension that will pay him $228 million in total when his contract is up with the Houston Rockets. Previously, last July, he just signed a contract extension that made him upwards of $115 million with that extension. Now, ESPN tweeted this that I think is incredibly important. The NBA career earnings. Dirk Nowitzki, $242 million. Joe Johnson, who's only good at the end of the shot clock and most of the time down the stretch, $203 million because of that ridiculous offer that he received from the Atlanta Hawks to just snowball everything else that accumulated for his bank account in his career. Carmelo Anthony, we'll get to him, $201 million. LeBron James, $200 million. I understand that James Harden is coming off a season in which he was runner-up to MVP for the second time, and also that he made the move to point guard. Now, there was an article in the Players Tribune, and I'm blanking on exactly who it was, but this teammate spoke very highly, as well as he should, of James Harden. Didn't have to put many of the words that he put in to praise James Harden and his move in order to be the point guard of the Houston Rockets. But the numbers that he put up were absolutely gaudy. Over 29 points per game, 11 assists per game. He was the assist leader for a guy who was such a shoot-first player. 8 rebounds per game as well. Many NBA fans and NBA players took to Twitter, and here are some of those. Chris Paul says, "Congrats, to hell with the ball. Let me hold some money bags." Okay, go ahead, hold some money bags. The funny thing is, he made so much money with State Farm and the Chris Paul ads. Remember those? I wonder exactly how State Farm is going to develop those from an ad perspective. J.J. Watt, the absolute king of Houston, says, "James Moneybags. Congrats, J. Harden 13. And then Joe had the best tweet of all. James Harden signs 4-year, $228 million contract extension, and now the beard is, of course, filled with money. We're not even getting into, not only is it the richest extension in NBA history, but he also has deals with many brands, including Trolley. It's Trolley, right? A trolley is the one where you get drunk and like go on your friend's birthday. So Trolley, the gummy worms, the Reebok deal that he signed, or was it Adidas? It was Adidas. When he wore Nikes and the company had to be like, "Dude, come on, help us out here." So he got paid with a ridiculous amount. You got to remember as well, James Harden 5 years ago when he was with Oklahoma City was traded. Can't believe it's 5 years already. He was traded for Jeremy Lamb, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. Who was the third player? Kevin Martin, who actually ended up averaging a little bit more than James Harden did because Harden won 6th Man of the Year and came off the bench. So it's really interesting. The reason that all these contracts are happening, and I know J.R. Jackson is going to go into this a little bit later on the channel, is that the TV ad revenue is just ridiculous, and Terrence Pot Roast Knighton went in when it comes to NFL contracts and NBA contracts. The main point, though, is that the TV deal is for 9 years, $24 billion. You all can thank ESPN and Turner Media for giving this humongous chunk of change to the NBA, to the National Basketball Association. He is the first player in NBA history with 2,000 points, 900 assists, and 600 rebounds. The question that we have to ask is, has the money gotten so ridiculous that James Harden can make $228 million and he still isn't great defensively? Is he playing better? Sure. Are the sabermetrics in favor of him defensively over Russell Westbrook? Surprisingly, yes, because Westbrook would leave his man a majority of the time to go fetch rebounds, and there's a YouTube compilation of Enes Kanter and Steven Adams just allowing him to go get rebounds, but another argument for another day. The other question is, well, not only sticking with that, but in terms of money, has the money gotten so ridiculous that Otto Porter, who averaged 13 points per game, less than Kevin Martin averaged for the Oklahoma City Thunder, is going to get paid over $100 million? And yet somehow Jeff Green is only getting paid like $3 million to be a bench player for Cleveland. Incredible fall from grace, but nonetheless, they needed to add to their bench. What exactly would you pay James Harden if you could? What would you pay a guy like Otto Porter Jr., who averaged 13 points per game, if you could? Has the money gotten so ridiculous that you're a little turned off by the NBA product now, or has it actually helped you and in a way affected you positively that you want to see if these guys are worth the amount of change that they're getting? Lastly, from a Houston Rockets perspective, would Carmelo Anthony waive his no-trade clause to go to Houston? Yes. Would Mike D'Antoni, who clashed and butted heads like crazy with Carmelo Anthony when they were in New York because of their big personalities and the offense that was being run, would they even be a good match? If Carmelo were to go to Houston, would it be a good enough match with Chris Paul, who needs the ball, James Harden, who needs the ball, and also, oh, by the way, Carmelo Anthony, who needs the ball, and who many scouts have said in the past, if he just tried on defense, he would be 10 times better. But there's there's a humongous lack of effort defensively for Carmelo. When you look at his body build, he really should be better. And adding PJ Tucker, can they legitimately challenge Golden State? No. They could maybe win a game, maybe push 2. Of course, injuries would play a humongous factor in me even giving more games to Houston. But even with James Harden getting this contract, the money being so ridiculous, and them potentially adding Carmelo Anthony, already adding PJ Tucker, who's an AAU teammate of Chris Paul when they were both in North Carolina, does this help them? Does it hurt them? Does it handcuff Houston in a negative way to James Harden for what seems like the duration of his career, if not towards the tail end? I want to hear all of your thoughts. These are questions that I'm asking you. It's not just my discussion. It's our discussion. So leave a comment below and subscribe to TYT Sports.